Hi there, I'm Ali and welcome to the Repair Studio. So today I thought I would do a two-parter, and this is the first part on how to fix multiple breaks. Now quite often you have a piece or you're given pieces which have more than two or three broken parts, and it's a bit like fixing a jigsaw puzzle. It can be quite frustrating but quite rewarding in the end. So here I have I think it's a Edwardian cheese dish in complete and utter pieces. Also some little shards in there. And I was given this, as you will find once you get into china repair and restoration, that people will just go through their cupboards and give you anything, and things which are really kind of sometimes not actually worth your while doing, to be honest, because the amount of time it takes and products you need to use to how much it's actually worth in monetary terms, at least anyway, unless someone's going to pay you for it and pay you well for your time. But today I did pick these, I did say yes to this because I wanted to show you how to do multiple breaks. Now, first of all, I've got, as I say, it's an Edwardian cheese dish, and what you will need is some sellotape. Now, this is one form of sellotape, which to be honest, I very rarely use, and I don't use this sellotape for a reason, and it's because it's very sticky, and if it goes onto any gilding or any paint which is flaking, it will strip it straight off. So if you can, try to buy something like Scotch tape or the equivalent, because although it's sticky and will hold the pieces into place, it won't take off any gilding, although it is best to try to avoid the gilding parts anyway, but it doesn't leave a residue on the end in the end, so I'd highly recommend using something like this. Right, so first of all, let's show you the base. We'll start on the base and then we'll go on to this large parts here. And of course it's quite tricky because it's on a stand, so it's not actually even flat onto the ground, onto your work surface, which makes, to be honest, a lot easier. So here we are. It's been washed, it's been cleaned, and as you can see, it's in lots of different pieces. I'll just give you a little showdown there. So what I would do first, I would take the large piece, and I tend to work from the corners, a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, and add pieces into. You probably will find there'll be lots missing, but we can always fill those in later. So first of all, we've got our largest piece, and I've got a piece here, second largest piece, again a corner, and let's fix those together. So they will go there. And you can see when they slot in, and also if you have a bit of pattern detail, that's usually useful as well, because it gives you a good idea. Again, because it's raised, it's not going to be completely flat, but it doesn't matter as long as we've got a rough idea on a practice run. It's always important when you're doing multiple breaks to do a practice run, because when you're gluing, you want to glue all at the same time. If you glue at different times, you'll really, you could say, become a cropper, because you then end up with glue drying, and then you end up with something where you can't fit the last two or three pieces in, and then you've got to kind of almost start again. So it's always best to do multiple breaks to glue them all at the same time. There we go. So we'll just start on all these pieces here, the corners. This is quite, as I say, it's quite tricky, this one, because it is raised, so it makes it harder. So I thought I'd just show you the base first. As I said before, it's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, and then it's always good to have the pieces laid out first, because then you can get a real good idea of where they're roughly going to be. And obviously this is going to be missing, I think this fell onto the floor, my client was saying, so it's going to be missing an awful lot of pieces, which we'll have to put Milliput and fill in ourselves after. It's not an expensive piece, so you don't want to spend too much time. If you're just starting doing china repair, this is probably something, I wouldn't start this straight away unless you're feeling very brave. Obviously 1 or 2 pieces is a lot easier than real multiple breaks. And then, so there we are. So we've got kind of got our base there. So you can see we've got all around the outskirts. That's all done. I can see we're missing 1 or 2 bits. I'm going to try to get those up there. That might just go in there. Now, when you're doing this with china, it's very different to, for example, porcelain. With porcelain, I would glue the multiple breaks, and then I would use a special glue to fill it in, which I will go through on another tutorial. But this is for china. Now, here we go. So we've got this bit here. As I say, it's a bit like, it is like a jigsaw puzzle, and it does take time. But I tend to go to use the bigger pieces first, do around the edges, the larger pieces, work my way up onto then the smaller pieces. So this one's tricky because it is raised up, it's not flat to the ground. It's just to give you a rough idea so you know where you are when it comes to actually gluing it together. Now it's trying to find these pieces. It could take some time. It's just a bit of trial and error. Ah, there we go. So that it's slotting into there. It's quite satisfying when you find the space it needs to go into. And what I would do is I would keep doing this all the way through. Show you down there. You can see it's coming together now. Right, so let's do a few more, and then I'll show you the other part. So again, I would keep doing this, keep working my way around, keep trying to find where it needs. Oh, there we go. It's slotting in, and bit by bit, it does get easier as the pieces start to go into each other and form the shape. And then I would just keep doing this until I've done it all. But as I say, I know it's missing some pieces. So what I'll do, just because of time, I'll finish this one later. As I say, there's not much more to do that. I've only got another 7 or 8 pieces to go, but I know it's going to be missing some. So that's that one, how to do that multiple. So that's the base. So let's get on to the main body, and we'll just move that very carefully. So we've got the cheese dish, the main part here. Obviously, it's say 3-dimensional, it's not flat, so it's going to be quite tricky. The bits are broken here, you know, it's not an easy one. So what I would do first, let's go again, take the main part, a large piece. I can see that goes there, so I can see if I can hold it on. So these things can be very frustrating. It's almost there. That's it. I can hold that into place. Sometimes if you can get a few of these and just line them up, some of the sellotape, it's a lot easier as well. So you're not messing around too much. There you go. I'll hold it into place and set. So it's not an easy one. A couple of pieces in there. The bit where you could cry by the end. Ah, that's it. Is it going to go on? Ah, that's it. Slotted in. I'll try to avoid pressing too hard on any gilding. Right, okay. So that bit's on. So I'm going to leave that. Let's try and get another piece. Again, it's just trial and error. I mean, there's so many big pieces to this one. Hopefully that will stay on. I'm going to show you this side here. Right, so this looks like another end. If that go there. Now this, I can see it's risen up slightly here as well. So Does that go there? No. To say, it's lots of trial and error. I think it goes higher up one side than the other. No. Okay, let's try something else. Let's try a flat piece. So I've got a piece here. So I haven't practiced with this yet either. So again, I'm just sort of. No, actually, that is definitely lower. So let's try a lower piece. That's going to go. So let's do him. As I say, you just got to keep working your way along, fixing pieces. It does take time and a lot of patience. But as I've said before, if you enjoy doing puzzles, this, it's great. It's one for you. So we'll go kind of there. Again, this is a funny angle. And I think one side's higher than the other, being I think it's a cheese dish. Oh, there we go. So that's on. So we're starting to form the shape now. Now again, that's another flat piece. So there's quite a few. So that goes there. So there must be something up a little bit more there. Is that going to stay on? No. I think that's at the side. Let's get it on properly. See if there's anything on there. No, I can see I've got a line on there, so will that work? No. There we can see, because sometimes you get clues. So I can see now, for instance, there's a line here, so by finding another piece with a line, I can see that's going to fit. So if I put it onto there, oh, whoops. So I mean, it's extremely frustrating. It takes an awful long time. Let's get this onto there. Ooh. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it onto a book because I think sometimes you need a completely flat surface. Let's use a flat surface. I know where that's going. So let's get a book there. So it's nice and flat. So that should be easier. Might have to start him from the beginning. Sorry, this is a very long tutorial. But you can get the gist. Oh, come on there. That's it. Right. It's on that angle. It's on that angle. Let's say extremely frustrating. Start again. Let's get him in there. Alright, it has to be really tight, otherwise it's going to move. Because it's at an angle, it's extremely hard. So this is probably one of the hardest sort of breaks you can get, to be honest. So I'm really showing you probably one of the hardest pieces. And you could do it from the underside if you want to get. I might just add a bit more tighter fit to that actually. Let's get that right in. That might hold it in place more. There we go, that's better. So I've done it on the other side as well, so that's going to hold in even better. So let's get this side, take this off. At least we know where everything's going now. Right, okay, so that corner there, it's hard because I'm hoiking him up and oh, I see, because it goes at an angle and that's why it's going to be quite tricky. I never saw this before it was broken, so this is a very tricky one actually, because it doesn't actually go flat. That's why I'm having problems. I'm going to go underneath on the underside as well, just to hold it in place more, because it's a very hard one, this. So now we've got this larger piece here, and let's just see if we can push him. As I say, it's going to raise up even more angled now. That's it. This is why it's so important to do a trial run. If you just did this with glue, you know, you really could, as I say, become a cropper, and you'd have to start all over again. There we go. So I see. So it's coming at a big angle. I'll see if I can do the other side. Actually, let's have a look. What's on there? Well, that fits there. Let's see if there's any other pieces which could help. If not, I'll go to the other side. No, can't see any from there. Not straight away anyway. Let's see if I can get to the other side. So as you can see, it sort of stands up like that. So we need something quite thin. I don't know if we've got any. But as I say, I think it's going to be in so many pieces. It's going to be quite tricky. Let's get to this part. See if we can get anything at the front. This is a large part. Will that go there? Oh, that does. And if that holds in place, we'll start making everything a lot easier. Is that going to go there? Aha. Yes, that's going to be slot in there. Good. I need more hands. This is when you need to be an octopus. As I say, this is a very tricky one, and if you can, you know, this is the hardest, so anything else is kind of easy, but you get sort of the rough idea. So I'm going to hold on to that there. That's it. So it's holding in place now. I don't want to hold on too much because I don't want to mess. I don't want to damage. That can go there. The more you do, the more it's starting to get easier now. Starting to hold in place. I'm just going to do one angle here and one here. Again, there's lots of gilding, so I don't want to press too hard. I'll press on where the gilding isn't. Just hold it there for a bit. And I can always go from the underside and hold it in place more as well. So there's no gilding there. Right, it's after that, it's actually taking shape. Oh, there we go, slowly. So this is the last real big pieces before we fill in the small. And that's definitely a corner. That's useful. Puts him in there. Now you can see the importance of doing a practice run. And that's another real big piece. That's good. That's coming together now. It's not going to slot in completely. Let's get him in there. Come on, you can go in. So. Almost there. Come to the other side. That's it. There we go. So let's get that in on there. It doesn't have to be precise because we're going to be taking these off and gluing it where it will be precise, but just so you know where all the pieces match and go. So, okay, so we've done this parts here. We've got this part of the dish as well. I'm going to do a bit of on the underside there because I can feel that's going to go. Right, okay. So be very, very careful, as you can see. And then we're just going to finish this side here. So we've got this part came away, but just give a rough idea so I know where all the pieces are, and also to see if we're missing any pieces. Yeah, it's not going to be an easy one. So this is why it's so important to get pricing right. If somebody asks you to do something like this, you know, it's going to take a long time. You've got the base, you've got this, you know, it's quite frustrating, and it does take time. And people tend to think it's a 5-minute job, and it never ever is. I've got a nice little corner there, so put him on. Does that go there? Does that go there? Ah, I think he goes there. So this is where there's a few more pieces. I think I'll use a very large piece. Let's see where that goes. Here we go on there. And so I do like to get the large pieces in first and then finish with the small. Oops. I lay him on there, that will hold in. So this has got multiple breaks. Just trying to place it on. That's it. As I say, you'll find when you're doing this, it's so frustrating. You'll laugh, you'll cry, but at the end of it, it is rewarding, particularly if you've done it and you've, you know, take a before and after photograph. Now I've got, that's a good, that goes on there. There we go, that's slotted in nicely. I'll just show you. So I'm sort of slotting these all in now. To see, that goes down there. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect because we are taking this apart. It's just so you know what's missing, what pieces, where, what goes where. You'll see that's going to, I don't know if I can lift that up. I don't want it to come away. There we go. That's on there, so that'll go there. And once I've done all of this, I will actually take a photograph so I know what it looks like. Just remind me in case, you know, we do miss a few pieces, just remind me where everything is. Now I think that's kind of be there. We've got a bit missing down here. We know that's got, you know, that's pretty good. There's a few pieces missing there. And we've got a few extra bits, but I think they go with the base. So I'll put those for the base. So there we are. So that's the main part of the dish with the multiple breaks. As I say, it's extremely frustrating. This is particularly hard because it's at a funny angle, and you know it was lots of pieces. As I say, start with the large pieces, start small, use Scotch tape rather than sellotape. And then what I'll do is, now we've got that together, I will then finish off my base here, because now I found another couple of pieces. I wasn't sure if they were with this piece or this piece, but they're definitely with the base. So I'll fill these in, see what needs to be finished off. And what I'm going to do is, in the next video, is we are going to glue them properly. Now we've put them together, we know where everything is, and it's now ready for, then it'll be ready for getting the glue ready and gluing it all in one big hit. As I say, it's very important to do. You don't want to be doing it bit by bit, otherwise you end up with what they call a lockout. And a lockout is when, say, you've glued a bit here and you've glued a bit there, and you put it back together and it doesn't quite fit because the glue, you're adding another element in, so it's never ever going to be the same, and you won't be able to fit that last piece in. So there we go, part 1. I'll see you next week and we will glue them together. And then after that, I did have somebody comment and ask me when I was going to be doing painting and sort of airbrushing, that sort of thing, and I'm going to do that afterwards. But I thought it was important just to show you, if you come across any multiple breaks, anything more than 2 or 3 breaks, this is very challenging, but you know, you may come across something like that. So I want to do this first, and then I will move on to colour theory and painting. So there we are. I hope you enjoyed this video, and again, if you haven't subscribed before, please subscribe and please like, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.